I like that concept. I wish they pushed it more. All right, so I'm just gonna switch over to a different screen to help me cut this off later. See, we're gonna take that off. Right. Are we all ready? We've got Sonic Frontiers. I've loaded it up in 4K just to try and make things more interesting for me. We all ready? Oh, wrong button. There you go. Okay, so volume is on. Let's see. Yes, the next one is Sonic Heroes is a Lovable Mess. Okay, so I'm gonna like just analyze this first part of the screen. This looks like a airborne area, mountain area. It looks like areas we can like skip instead of having to go all the way around from, which is cool. We shall see how this all. We've got little squiggly areas here. We've got a bunch of signatures here. I want to say that's a loop-de-loop, but it's not a loop-de-loop. Right, we all ready? We ready? We're good? Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. Oh, I can't hear you. Right. 3, 2, 1, go. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't put this on 4K. Maybe I shouldn't put this on 4K. Let me try this again. That's like much faster now.
IGN First for the month of June 2022 is all about Sonic Frontiers. We've got gameplay, we've got previews, and we've got interviews from the developers who made it all happen. All month long, we'll be diving deep into what you can expect when the game makes its way to you later down the road. First up, we've got the world premiere gameplay focusing on exploring the mysterious island that Sonic suddenly finds himself stranded on.
So it's the mysterious island
aspect. Be sure to stick with IGN throughout June so you don't miss anything. Until then, here's your first look at gameplay from Sonic Frontiers.
Okay, I want to pause everything. Like, oh wow, okay. I see why. I see why I've been hearing the comments that I have. Okay. I do like the music. The music's nice. It's very chill. Surprisingly, it does remind me a lot of Sonic 06 in some of its visuals. I knew you could run up this. I predicted this one. And it looks like you can like skip ahead by just running on the purple pads. This must be the currency? Oh, okay. You can grind up it too. Oh, you can just straight up climb. At least he doesn't have a gauge. It does. I do like how big it feels. So you can skip it. So a lot of the things have made it back onto. Okay, so he's slowly making it to the edge. Okay. We don't have a UI, which I wish we had. Oh, hey, look. Hi, Sonic Generations. What are you doing here? I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of making me happy. I'm not gonna lie. It shouldn't, but it does. I do understand I'm seeing it. It's not deterred me, but I'm seeing the crazy numbers. Yeah, it feels okay. I don't know what the hearts mean. What did the hearts stand for? Okay, so that's how we deal with bad names. It is definitely massive. I'm not gonna lie. Like this feels very big. Okay, hopefully they give a bit of visual flair for the jumps. Okay. Oh, got rain. Okay, these look like androids. They look like a thing. Why don't we just be like, hey yo man, what are you staring that way for? I mean, Sonic and Puzzles isn't new. They all kind of remind me of Chaos. So maybe that's what the mystery is about. I heard electrical noises. I actually like this ability. I think we predicted it as being like this is a slightly younger Sonic, but we were wrong. Oh wow, that's massive! Not gonna lie, that's actually really cool. Looks like a spider web. Okay, that's how we. I guess there is. Oh, seagulls! We get to run with the seagulls. Isn't that nice? These are little flares that we don't normally get in all the tiles. Okay, this is cool. I like this. You know, I think I know what this reminds me of now. It reminds me of like something like Forza or Test Drive, where it's meant to be that you're meant to run towards other sections of the game. Like you can run quite far out. Music is really good. I'm glad that you're not impeded by the wall. Like you just run up it and it's not an issue. I feel like we've been here before. I do like the new visual style they've used for some of the UI stuff. Ah, you messed it up. Okay, I think they were demonstrating that it could go wrong. I will admit the loading is definitely showing its either age or thing at the moment. But remember, this is a video that was probably prepared about 2 months ago in May. I'm being lenient by saying it took 2 months for it to get to this point. Finally, a treadmill. Already? I'm not lying. That was actually pretty fast. Okay. Initial thoughts. As I've said, I'm a very positive person. At least from a feel standpoint, it feels nice to at least watch. And what they presented feels like there's even if the I feel like the exploration stuff is there. I feel like we're in place for that. I don't think we have any problems with anything from that standpoint. I think so I did have a look at some of the responses, And there are things that I feel like are neutering the experience, because it feels like this is a bit of a fine edge experience. Like, too much one way will equal bad. Too much the other way will be equal bad. My guess would be, I do understand why people say the visuals of it seems a bit odd with all these rails that are there. The irony is that the rails are there so that you can traverse certain sections of the map, and it gives you more of an excuse to get to those sections of the map. Like, for example, while this is an aisle, it looks like you can go onto the C section. Even if we just look at the map as we have it, there is a C section here, a C section, a grinding section here, grinding section here, and it looks like each open zone is maybe dependent on the aisle. Well, I think this is more like the equivalent of Breath of the Wild's plateau, because that was like one of the more first grounded open world titles. I know you have Wind Waker, but most of that took place in the sea, and you go to each area. An island would equal a level type situation, whereas here, this is more like the plateau where you get to run around and things. The thing is that I don't expect them to have a huge amount of stuff. I'm just wondering how. So the problem here is that the gameplay that we're seeing is definitely the hub world stuff. Definitely feels like it's all the hub world stuff. It's all the I would say it's more like the quote unquote boring aspect of the game. Think of it like Sonic 06's hub worlds, where you get to go around the city and meet people, talk to people, that sort of thing. Whereas instead, that's what we're doing here. So you'll complete levels, and I feel like the levels are going to be more like what we're expecting from Sonic Forces in terms of maybe shortness, but maybe high velocity style play. That's what it feels like we're going to end up getting, because it's not an open world game, it's an open zone game. So that means we're going to have open areas, but we still have to traverse around them. I know people were comparing it to something like Phantasy Star Online. I wish I could understand that, but I feel more like Xenoblade is a very good indicator of that. I just don't know how the battle system will work, which we did see some brief stuff in the teaser, which kind of sucks because we saw it in the teaser and not in here. So I'm going to pause it in areas that I find interesting. So this bit actually looks like it's a level. This bit actually looks like it's a level.
Previews, and we've got.
So I feel like we're going to have two sections to the game. One will be the hub world, and the other will be sections where you are traversing parts of the level. Think of each individual level as more like a shrine. That would be a better indicator of what's going on.
To what you can expect when the game makes its way to you later down the road. First up, we've got the world premiere gameplay focusing on exploring the mysterious island.
So the one problem I have is that the context of this is I don't know why he used the powers then.
That Sonic suddenly finds himself stranded on at the start of the game. Be sure to stick with IGN throughout June so you don't miss anything. Until then, here's your first look at gameplay from Sonic Frontiers.
Okay. I'm trying to like see things. So we've talked about this before. These look like platforms you can get to, and obviously once you complete this part of the section, it will make it easier for you to get up there.
Frontiers.
But technically speaking, the traversal in this game is just you run at it. The music is very much more reminiscent of Breath of the Wild. That's a definite. Like, there's a huge influence on that. The problem is optimization is probably one of the biggest issues with this gameplay review. A lot of the stuff that should be there is definitely not optimized for loading, and that might be because of the style of gameplay they're trying to juggle. So I'm worried about that one. I think a beefy enough PC would be able to run it. Probably is running on a PC, and we're only running a section of it. But my guess would be we are seeing. See, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like to me that the game is running. There's two parts to this game. It may look rough right now, but I feel like it's to do with optimization. I'm hoping that's the biggest thing. If they can fix optimization, I think a lot of it can be forgiven. So, unlike other Sonic games as well, we've only seen one type of architecture, which is very uncommon for us to see this early on. See, the problem I have right now is I want to see the teaser where we've seen some of the battle elements in here. But it does make it look vast, which is good. Okay, just checking stuff that's in the background. I don't understand why this happens. Okay, there we go. I've forgotten that he can't just run straight up. Some of it reminds me of Kingdom Hearts in terms of music. Okay, so I want to see the. So this looks like a level. I feel like we're gonna approach sections of the game where it will take us to a more gameplay area. By the way, let me know if I'm going choppy. And I think the game is actually trying really hard, so hopefully they'll fix that optimization fairly soon. I think that's going to be fixed by literally just a depth perception thing. These look like little areas we can enter, especially this little section here looks like a bridge that we can get to. I have a stupid question. I wonder if we can jump off from this and just like land and on our feet. I'm assuming we can. Okay, this looks like a time dial. This looks like... The thing is, this looks like something that attacks you. Also, this music is overlaid. This music doesn't play. This music doesn't play in the game. Or at least I don't think it plays the way we think it does. Because if we go back here, so the sound effects is fine. Also, I'm not sure why we keep hearing the weird clicking noise. I think that might be to do with the lock-on. So can you see the music continues as it transitioned? I don't think this track plays in the hub world all the time, or at least the way we're seeing it. There's a villain there on the right. We didn't see them. We didn't see him go fight him. Like it's. Look, it's right there. Like that. That's the enemy type. I'm wondering why we're not attacking it in this demo. I feel bad because must have taken them so long to put that stone thing together. This looks like a temple area. I think this is the first area of the game. I also think that this is our main area we're going to come back to all the time to get given our quote-unquote next mission. So we'll get put into open zones to find our quote-unquote mission, and that will help. No, I mean, if I explain it like this, that if I explain it like this, look. So what I was just pausing towards was the floating platform on the right. It appears and disappears over time. So I am hoping that the grind rails actually act in the same way. But yeah, basically, Sonic Adventure has the open. I wouldn't call it open zone or open world type, but it's more like there are areas you can traverse that doesn't require you to be in a level. The hub world is basically it. This is just a really wide hub world, and there is a lot of, what's the word we're looking for here? There's a lot of little things you can do to redo all the time. So I think you can always find an enemy to attack and to gather resources for things. I think there is going to be a grindy aspect where we have to gather materials or gather energy of sorts. But I would hope that they don't. I mean, it would be... I think the only way you would do it is something very similar to Sonic Unleashed, where you have to upgrade your abilities to help make your life easier in the long run. Like, for example, being able to run up walls and finding new gear to help, it's actually more like Sonic Adventure more than anything, where Sonic was given more abilities to help him do things. So, for example, like light speed dash and so on and so forth. I hope that does make a return, and that is based on something a little more tangible. So I think that's probably a good way of going about it. I like how there's little spire things here and little spire things here. So by far, this is the biggest Sonic game they have made since Sonic Unleashed. Like, legitimately the biggest one. Because Sonic Unleashed had this problem of daytime's level having very long tracks. And the problem with it is that you traverse so much, but you'd zip through it in 10 minutes. Whereas here it's like, you could probably keep going around the same area in 20 to 30 minutes. And you'd find something. This feels very like focused on the completionist way of doing things. I don't know why. I do like the very scenic route that they're taking here. Like, they're giving you opportunities to see things, see the level design in a more adrenaline-filled way. Like, the problem is, I think, ironically, I know everyone hates, and I say everyone hates, but everyone dislikes I was seeing a lot of comments about the grinding, mostly because of the visual aspect. But I think the grind, like, you have to forgive it. Yeah, I'd be curious to play this, although I'd watch someone like you stream it first. Oh, thank you. Like I said, I'm very forgiving, and I'm also very open-minded to new styles of play. So as long as it's good, I don't care if it's different. There are things that I prefer, yes, but does it make it bad? No. I think this is what they want to do so that they can actually experiment with new styles of gameplay in a more safer way, in a more safer sandbox. And so far I'm curious about it too. Like, this is visually and level design wise, the most same here, but we know fanboy gonna fanboy. I know, I'm sorry. It's the irony here is that I'm going from my game design aspect more than being a fanboy, because if I want to hate on it, yeah, visually I don't like the way that the rails have been presented. That's not hard ask. Like, visually it feels like it ruins parts of it, and that's kind of the reason why. I'm hoping there's more of a visual fidelity in play, and there's a visual reason why the grindy rails must look the way they do. Maybe it might be better as opposed to making them physical, tangible things. Replace the asset with a more ethereal style gameplay. A good example of this is in Sonic 06, where you hit a sort of podium and it would release like a wind aspect and it would carry you through that particular part. I think that would work here. But if it's, because everything that's purple seems like it's traversable. That's the key here. Like, that's the main part you need to know. And the thing is that we still don't know much about the story. And the story really drives the Sonic game. Like, it's not like Mario where it's the same story over and over again. Sonic really likes to have different stories and adventures. So there is a there's a story-based reason why things are presented the way they are. And I'm really wanting to know. I can probably guarantee that if it's got a good story hook, because at the moment it's all mystery and it's intrigue, and it's like, cool, intrigue, nice, but at the same time, my downside to it all is that's all I've got. I'm stuck on intrigue at the moment, and I need to see more. I need to understand more why Sonic is traversing the world. At least give me more of a I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this without going into spoilers, because it could be spoilers. See, my guess is that this has a lot to do with the Echidna race, or everything to do with Chaos, and the Chaos Emeralds specifically. This is probably one of the first or few games for us to focus on that element, especially with one of the... see, the problem here is if you look at it at what you see is what you get type situation, I can understand this looking very lacking. Can very easily understand that. My problem is that there has to be a reason why things work the way they do. They have to, because game design doesn't work on fluff. It works on practicality. So there has to be a reason why things work the way they do. There has to be reasons why the grind rails are there. There has to be reasons why if they can add a story element to it, great. And usually a story element is the biggest reason why. My guess would be all of these things that we're seeing right now is everything to do with Robotnik, or anything to do with the sort of the villain character that we may be dealing with this time. We're assuming it's Robotnik. We're assuming that but it could be Eggman Nega. It could be any of the previous. I wouldn't say any of the previous. It could be Metal Sonic, because we've not had a Metal Sonic be the main villain in a long time. It could be ML. Could be Chaos, it could be Gerald Robotnik, because they can always bring that story back. This, just because it's a Sonic Adventure 2 story does not mean that it was the only story he had. Remember, he did go to space, he did live on an ark, he did meet aliens. There's a lot you can do with Gerald Robotnik if he remains to be a villain. What else is there? Then there's also the IDW style comics. Infinite being a story. Mephiles can also return. If I highly doubt they're going to ever bring back Mephiles, but it's just a case of he's got a really cool visual. I think Infinite's got a really cool visual. Surprisingly, Sonic doesn't have it doesn't have much of a rogues gallery that doesn't just become a good guy in the end. So it's just like it's not like Kingdom Hearts where it's like Xehanort 13 times, you know. So like the thing with this visual is that it had to take you to this area, and it's like, this is a really cool area to traverse and just run around it. That's what I think is like the impressive thing about this year, and I feel like people are missing it. Like, I don't know if this is the first game to have been seen on the IGN Direct thing, but this is definitely interesting. Like, here's the thing. We got closer to this bit. We got closer to wherever the heck this is. It's shaped like a Chaos Emerald too. I want to know what this is. Someone please give me a demo. Look at this. Like, I feel like there's some Death Stranding ball the influences in here as well. So this is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's definitely we said this in the original demo, in the original trailer. This was some sort of spire, some sort of what's it called? It's a checkpoint. Also, I'm not seeing much of the Lightspeed Dash, so I'm assuming that Lightspeed Dash will come later. Yeah, we can see it there. Go back a few seconds. You can see it? That's definitely a Lightspeed Dash thing. Either that or it's a homing attack thing. What the hell is all this? What is all this? See, this reminds me of Chaos. Does anyone else have any theories on this? Has anyone else got any theories about this? This reminds me of Chaos. But I can't think of another character that has this sort of like mentality. Maybe some of the Omegas. Could be some of the Omega stuff. Although they all kind of look like E.T. as well. I'm trying to think of a character that has E.T. elements to this. Whatever this is, this will be our main villain. This is going to be the key to our main villain. Floating Island Guardians, probably. I mean, that's the thing about the echidnas. About that makes me think of Golem from SA2. I forgot who Golem is in SA2. Probably. Could be the Floating Island Guardians. Soundshot, let me know when I'm talking crazy yet. Do I sound like a madman? Hey, bro. Why are you looking that way, man? Why are you looking that way, man? Hey, man. We've been standing here forever. You've been staring out for a while. You okay? You okay, man? It's just like, I can't move. I can't see what you're seeing. I just hope you're okay, man. You not been giving me eye contact for a while. I think the camera should have worked on that one. Yeah, this definitely looks early build, because I'm pretty sure you would have just had Sonic move to the left or right. I can see what you guys are seeing. Light him. Look, he's blue too. Like, his blue matches the blue. Hey man, you look stoned. Grasser. Yeah, look. Lightspeed Dash is here. Lightspeed Dash does exist in this game. But I'm wondering why there's 3 of these here. Well, triangle is definitely the motif. I mean, all things considered, everything is to do with the triangles, if we go back enough. Hey man, you look stoned. You're right. Apparently there are skill trees, so you'll probably have to unlock it. Ah, that's true. No, I think you'll unlock the ability fairly quickly, but I think it's just a case. So yeah, I think the triangles have a lot of motifing here. Yeah, but it looks like everything that Sonic interacts with will be blue. I really do hope we see other characters that are able to traverse this area. Because do you know what? I know it sounds dumb, and I know we're focused on Sonic Frontiers and stuff like that, but it would be cool, even if it's not a story-related reason, that we get to play a Shadow or Metal Sonic. I don't want to play a Silver. Leave Silver out. Just give me, give me Shadow and give me Metal Sonic. That's it. Silver just has no reason to be in this game. But and here's the thing. Hang on. Here's the stupid thing about this whole theory. This whole crackpotness of it all. Can you see this color green? This color teal? Do you see this color teal? Or whatever it is, turquoise? Let me show you a thing. Oh look! Who has turquoise hands? I wonder what this game's gonna be about. He's Sancho, I know, but they both got the same color. It's got the same feel. It's got the same feel. I mean, think about it. The one thing they haven't explained is why Silver's powers are telekinetic. They've explained Shadow. They've explained Metal. The one story element that hasn't been addressed here is literally Silver, and they've been trying to find a proper reason to bring back Silver. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think it's true. This is basically Sonic Shat Dimensions. Sonic suddenly has the ability of telekinesis. I don't understand why they've camera angled it the way they have. It's really annoying. Life is a triangle. That's what this is. True, but it's like, for some reason, it's because of the weird, it's because of this ability that makes me think that it has something to do with the ability instead. Somebody clip me saying, I think this game is about Silver, and then when it finally happens, I'm going to turn around and say, they thought I was a madman. They cast me out from the SEGA community. Because I had the audacity to say, I don't want Silver in this game, but I think this game is about Silver. Because, do you know what would be interesting here? Somehow, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I am. Silver's abilities is all connected to the Echidna's abilities, right? But there's someone who had to build the floating island. Let's go with the idea that all the chaos powers between Silver and Sonic are related in a more historical sense. You could say that the people who built Silver, the people who architected the original Angel Island, was based on whatever ancestor Silver had. That was to do with the telekinetic powers, because I don't think the telekinetic powers has anything to do with Chaos Emeralds or rings or anything like that. It's just an ability he has. And if that's the case, then it stands to reason this just feels very Silver the Hedgehog. This doesn't feel any other way for me. up until this point, like I said, Silva has not made a main game appearance in a while, and they've been trying to give him an excuse to be in a game. Why did you skip that? Is that a circle? Is that a teal circle? I have a question for you, Sancho. Wouldn't it's white and blue? Is this a silver game? This feels like a silver game. Am I the only one who thinks this is a silver game? Am I crazy? I don't know what the crackpot theories everyone else has come up with. One thing I noticed I really like is the little air dash you seem to get with the second press of a jump. It looks like much more effective than the normal one. See, this bit doesn't... I get why people don't like this bit. Also, it's really nice that when you go somewhat fast enough, you get to run with a seagull. And you know what? I'm happy for it. I want to run with a seagull. See, look, this is red. This is a red thing. Fantastical. Hi, happy fast day. Welcome to the stream. Howbie has. This is a very quiet figuring out of this gameplay video. Yeah, it just. This game, literally, it's like screaming at me to think it's goddamn Silva. I'm just expecting it to be wrong. I'm just expecting it to be wrong, but my confidence is like all the motif is very much focused on that area. Seagull. Look, it's where Darth Vader lives. I love this. I love this. Do you know why I love this? I remember the Sonic 06 trailer that they posted up, and it was a pre-CG thing, and they did this exact thing. They did this exact thing where you had Sonic, like they started the scene where they had like speed lines and wind, and it was just Sonic running through a forest, and it's like that game was bad. It's like, right, do over. This is literally it. this is literally it. The parallels. It was the E3 2005 teaser. Yeah. Why do you keep running away from these sections? Don't think I haven't noticed it. What does this mean? What does this mean? Is this Silva? Is this Silva? Is this literally meant to be Sonic 06, the do-over game? Oh god. I need to know. Yeah, this... I'm trying not to take these parallels. Look, there's another one. Why do they keep avoiding these? So they come back here again. So this thing looks interesting. So I think I saw this earlier. I saw this in a tweet randomly, but I didn't have the context. But yeah, I'm starting to see it. This is something you could just run around. You know, it's not moving though. I'm not gonna lie, this bit is completely terrible to show off in this context. The bottom of the blue signs looks like the same pattern as the new power coming out of it. Also, why are the springs purple? Seagulls have always been Sonic's best friend. They've been in Sonic Unleashed, helping them find their ways. But that doesn't sound like a seagull. What is that? Let me just quickly check something. By the power of 4K, show me what you see. That looks like a weird parrot with a green beak. Going back, sorry. The mountain's blue signs looks like it has, yeah. I think this is probably one of the coolest additions. Wait, go back. What is this? What is this? Just when it was starting to get interesting. So you have to find it? Okay.
IGN first for the month of June. We'll be diving deep.
I'm gonna go back for a second, and I'm gonna go to. Why is this running so slow? I don't understand. I don't understand why this is a thing. I hate sensationalism, by the way. I really do. But that might be their general opinions, and I can't stop them. But it's one of them where it's like, I hate this because I see this with Tails channel a lot, you know? And, not Tails channel, the Sonic Show. And 90% of whatever they put on the thing, the thumbnail, always ends up being the more negative stuff, and I hate it. What was I gonna do? Frontiers gameplay teaser. No, it's not the 720 or the thing. Sorry, random person whose person I was using as an example, but you know, might just be my internet connection. Have I got too many tabs on? Alright, I'm just going to exit Discord. Maybe that'll help me. Well, that's definitely smoothed things out a little bit. Now everyone can see what I follow. Sonic Frontiers teaser. That one. Come on. Come on. There we go. See, this is the bit I wished we saw in the gameplay. This looks like it's not in game. Also, look at the weather change. This was cut out from the gameplay. Both of these were cut out from the gameplay. Yeah, this was. Why did they cut it out? Wait, nice piano remix of Green Hill Zones? Is it? Also, this definitely reminds me. Guys, I'm not crazy. Blue Circle. It's silver. Guys, this is a silver game. It's a game about silver. It's a game about silver. Guys, I'm not crazy. So why did they cut all this out? They literally put the teaser with this thing in. It's literally in the teaser. And they took it out of the gameplay stuff. Why? This makes no sense. They took this out too. So we saw this earlier. So in the teaser, this is the teaser. If we go back like, this thing here, and go here. That's this here. So this thing here and this thing here are the two same things. Because they're literally in the same areas. That's the problem. We see things that are in the teaser that they appear in the gameplay trailer, and they have in the gameplay footage, but they've cut out, because what they've done is. And I think the reason why they've done it isn't because we're not going to see more footage. I think we're going to see more footage during the Summer Games Fest or whatever the hell IGN's doing this month for thing. Because you remember how last year IGN had like their game days or whatever it's called, where they had like a crap ton of just things that they were just putting out there. That's what we were seeing. That's this. That's what I think they've saved it for, where they're going to explain more about the gameplay elements. The issue here is there is a good game in here, and this isn't like there's so many interesting ideas in here, and I don't know why I feel like the crazy one for saying it, especially considering not the negativity, but just like everybody wants it to be good, but it's like there's clearly something good here already, and that's the issue that I'm seeing with it. That at least that's what I feel about it. Because this is literally, you come off this and then go there. No, it's not Sonic Adventure 3 we all wanted. See, the problem here is that I feel like this would have had its own soundtrack. This is really fast paced and really cool, and it seems like that it feels like that there's two sections to the game. We've got the open, I've said this at the start of the stream, but it feels like we've got the open zone area and we've got the in-game stuff, and it's very like, but I guess that's probably it. That's probably the Sonic Adventure style that people wanted, that you have the open world where you get to do things, and then there's the in-game adventure you get to do. And if you're going for that jank that you got from that first two games, I'm seeing it right now. I could definitely see the jank right now. I'm just hoping it doesn't become an Unleashed situation where it took 10 years for people to appreciate that game's, like what that game had achieved. And it's the same problem here that I'm seeing very quickly, that it will take 10 years for someone to look at this game and be like, this was an amazing game. It just didn't have the technology to do what it wanted it to do. And the thing is, that's not an excuse for a game like this to come out in 2022 and to be suboptimal. It needs to be optimized. It needs to focus on being practical than trying to subvert expectations. It needs to be playable, because even the thing here, is even if by the gameplay standpoint, it looks fun. I don't know why everyone thinks this looks like, I keep saying everyone looks rough, but to be honest, it just feels more like that I'm the deferring opinion here. But it doesn't look as bad as everyone making it sound right now, at least from what I had heard take-wise. But even if it was true, this is the first game where we get to see how that would feel. And so far, from what I'm seeing, it looks good. It looks really good. The downside is we don't know why we should be traversing. At the moment it feels very open world in the sense of I get to run around areas and take out some enemies in the meantime, which is good. That's very much Breath of the Wild. But when Breath of the Wild shined was that it had stuff to objective towards. So you go from, okay, I know why I'm going from point A to point B. That's the adventure that I feel like this game is trying to push. That you've got a goal to get to start that part of the game. So think of Breath of the Wild. You have the 4 temples that you've got to get to, the 4 super weapons. So on your way there will be stuff that will happen in that time period. Most of it is probably going to end up being more focus on puzzle elements and puzzle elements to help satiate your journey. That's what I am seeing right now. Has says, wait, do you know what the sad thing is? Sonic fans are most difficult. They'll question everything and accept nothing perfect. The first set of games in their mind present of being perfect on release, and that people expect that kind of polish all the time. But the sad thing is, screw polish and perfection. Does it work? Yes. Is it fun? Yes. Then what's the problem, bro? Against to those people. Yeah, that's understandable. The thing is, they're not wrong for saying what they're saying. To me, it's like, it's a bit of a difficult situation because it comes down to managing expectations, and you can't just you can't go in with no expectations at all. You have an expectation. The thing you need to manage is what is presented. The other issue is this isn't the only thing we're seeing from the game. This isn't the final stuff. This isn't the only thing. There's things they have deliberately not put in this trailer, in this gameplay video, and I'm wondering why. That's the issue I am finding, because they put it in the teaser. That's the problem here. Is that there's a teaser. That's literally the footage we wanted to see. So why? It's like 2 different groups cut this together. Why? And it's probably going to end up being, it was Sega mandated to say, don't show any footage to do with combat. I probably could guarantee you that. But why did they put it in the teaser? Sorry. That's the issue I'm having right now. It's like, the thing we want to see is here. The problem is that they're showing this stuff and it's good. Like, this stuff is good, but I wanted to see this too. I wanted to see this. 'Cause it's clear that they've got like an open. It's right there. The game's right there. It's right there. I'm sorry. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. Hi guys. Welcome to my stream. The quietest stream on Twitch, where I'm trying to not have an aneurysm of hopefully trying to tell you guys that there's a good game. This is not a bad game. Look, I understand. Like, I understand why. God, it's really annoying. It really is. It's really annoying. Because it's like, it's here. What I wanted to see is here. I wanted to see the full element of this. Give the gameplay of this. I'm pretty sure we're going to see it in June. I guarantee you they'll also be sticking to the working tile graphics made their phone release. I mean, they are. The thing is that I actually think polish is important this time around. Because I'd rather have a more contained experience, but a better polish at this point in time, at this juncture in June 2022, then have to argue that point later. But the irony here is that Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 were not polished games either, and they survived they survived time. So did Sonic Unleashed. So did Sonic Generations. They were not purely like 100% polished in the same way a Mario Odyssey game was, and that's kind of where it's not that it couldn't survive without polish. It needs to work. It's like you're saying Haz RPGs. It needs to work, and I'm so hopeful. I'm so hopeful for this game because I can see it. I can see why I would have fun with this game. I could see just running around doing dumb stuff all the time. I hope there's a camera mode. I hope there's a mode where I can do stupid stuff like that. I hope there's a this is a game about silver, isn't it? This is a game about silver. It's a game about silver, isn't it? They managed to put Shadow back into the game. They could do it very easily. They know a reason why. It's a game about silver, isn't it? I know lots of magazines said Sonic Adventure because it's released out, but the camera sucks and it's not fun. That's true, but they did improve it in subsequent versions. That's the thing. But that game was good for its time, and the thing is, it's the same here. Like, this is not that much different from an Odyssey title, and it's weird. It's weird that I feel like what we're seeing is actually this. It sounds dumb when I say so much potential because everyone says potential. I feel like this was a terrible. I wish we saw this earlier. I feel like this is also cut weirdly. So for some reason we saw our we saw this at the end of the demo as opposed to somewhere at the start of the demo. I feel like they should have ended traversing the top, but I don't know. Yo, you might not know this, but all the current versions suck in comparison to the original versions with the original hard and TV. Which one are we talking about? Sonic Adventure? Oh wow. See, that's the other thing is we're giving these MacGuffins. I wish we saw it and we could see it. Like, these are another thing. The set dressing. Like, this set dressing is all over the place. So there must be a reason why someone had to put this together. That's my point. Someone had to put this together. Someone had to put this together. There has to be a design reason for that to exist. Especially for it to be so prominent. Before I forget. So here's the thing. This looks like energy. Also, look at that big giant goddamn circle. It's goddamn silver. This shows how much energy being used, and this is speed output. Because you can go faster than that. This is also not the music that may appear during this part of the game. I feel like this is a track you would play while you're on the adventure to the next section. Like, that's when I would play that track. I think we're going to get 7 zones, 7 open zones, with 7 different styles of gameplay in mind. Like, they're going to have their own individual traversal elements. I'm hoping that I'm right about that. I really am hoping that we see I really am hoping to see that a gameplay, 2 gameplay elements here, very similar to a Sonic Adventure 1 in that sense, or Sonic Unleashed, or whatever way you want to describe it. But basically, an area where we get to have the hub world and the in-gameplay stuff, because that was probably one of the biggest downsides to Forces, is that it felt short because there was not much you can do outside of the levels, and the story was it was decent. It was decent. It had some really good ideas, but that's always been the problem with that sort of mindset, is that it's always been decent but never fully flourishes. And I'm hoping this flourishes. So if this is something that they can do moving forward, if this is the next if this does well, and this is the next 3 games that we get on this style, I would be happy with this. I'd be happy to go run around as a Sonic character and then somehow mod in the other characters I want to mod into. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the biggest reason why people will get it on PC. And hopefully it will be a blast to play through. I just hope the polish is there and the optimization is there. That's the big key thing right now. I hope they fix the optimization. I don't mind having a patch later fixing some of the more graphical issues, but it needs the optimization straight away. I think that's the thing I want the most out of this, because I'm sure there's a plan. I'm sure there's a marketing plan to say, right, we're only going to showcase the exploratory, the more hub worldy elements here. We're not going to showcase anything to do with the fighting in this game, even though they showed it in the goddamn teaser. And hopefully we get more of a reason why things are the way they are in this game. Like, what in-world reason have they put this together? They don't need to have a huge good reason, but that will help so much. So yeah, that's what we got so far. I think that's as much as I want to say right now. And I think I've already expressed most of the stuff. I think I've been right so far for the majority of my quote-unquote prediction from the first trailer. Although if I am wrong about anything, please do check that video out and let's go find out why I'm wrong. Don't forget, the games back then were designed for CRT TVs, so the graphics on those TVs look way more polished than they do currently on LED and LCD panels. That's true. See, that's the thing, is like, I feel like optimization is going to be the main key aspect about this game. I don't think anything else is going to matter as much if we don't get a smooth experience playing it. And what I'm meaning by it isn't like visual flair. Just, basically what I don't want to have happen is Sonic Generations time meter. I don't want that to happen again. It mired a almost brilliant experience, and if we had just a better understanding of that. And the only reason why it worked out better now is because there's so much optimization. Like, the game is optimized enough that a lot of the issues are eliminated on a more powerful console. So that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm hoping gets fixed this time around. And hopefully we don't get into a Cyberpunk situation. So for me personally, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think I'm the crazy one to say that. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm forcing myself to like what I'm seeing, but like wholeheartedly, I genuinely feel like there's a lot to enjoy that from what we're seeing. But I don't have enough information. I need more information to fully form my optimism, because right now, as it stands, it's like, great. This is for someone like me who has my specific background, I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I need to know why. I don't think you're crazy either. I like to look at this. Oh my god, I'm glad I'm not alone. No wonder people follow this channel. I'm crazy. But yeah, so far I'm liking the look of this, and I think the traversal element is probably one of the best elements about this. The platforming elements is such a key aspect. Send your screenshots on Discord. Thank you. So I'm hoping, I'm going to repeat myself, so I'm going to try and concise this as best as I can. One, I want to see gameplay and story footage. Sorry, what I mean by I want to be confirmed, I want to be right when I say there is a hub world section, an open zone section, and an in-game, more traditional-esque type section that we might see some sources. Because if the levels are as short as Forces are, I wouldn't mind it so much. Because if this element was in Forces, I think that would improve that game tremendously. And the thing is, my main issue with this is that I think it's really bad vertical slice of the game. I'm not gonna lie, I can see why, but I would love for you to elaborate, Soundshower. Please do explain like your thoughts. I would love to hear it. I'm not sure. I think this is meant to be open world. I wouldn't be surprised if the levels are in the world directly. See, that's what I'm thinking. Is I don't think this is open world. I think this is more open world than usual, but I think this is open zone, not open world. So think of it like you return to the same levels to complete tasks in the game. Very similar to Odyssey. But I don't feel. No, it's go for it, Sancha. You're completely fine. You're completely fine. You are safe here. If it helps, do you want to jump into Discord and we talk about it so that you don't have to type all of it? Or if that helps you, I'm more than happy to do that. Like PSO2 New Genesis, not sure. I wish I could tell you because I don't play enough of PSO2 New Genesis to give that answer. But my thinking is, you have your open world is more like your hub world, and you will go into sections that will allow you to play a more thing. I would, but people are sleeping in the room above. Okay. I mean, you could be quiet like I am. I have the same problem, to be fair. But yeah, I feel like there's a second section to this game that I'm not seeing, and it's probably to do with the objective. Faz has people sleeping too. Yeah. That's what it feels like. It feels, we say it's Sonic of the Wild, but it may be more similar than we think, because it's heading towards objectives that require you to have more problem solving elements that you would see with your ability. That's kind of the main thing. But the difference is you get to go to different parts of the world, and it's something they've been trying to do since Sonic 06, or even Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Like, they've always wanted to do this sort of. I just feel like this video doesn't do a good job of showing off the basic gameplay loop. It feels aimless and empty. Understandable. Completely. So just in case when it gets uploaded to YouTube, I just feel like this video doesn't do a good job of showing off the gameplay loop. It really feels aimless and empty, Soundshower says. I agree completely, 100%. I do understand that mindset. So I do understand that point of view, because yeah, it doesn't show a good job. Like, it shows really good ideas that you see in the game. Traversal is really good. It has the idea of problem solving elements. The problem is they only showed one element or two elements, that were problem solving. That was the issue. The issue isn't the gameplay itself. Let me be very clear. It's not what they presented, it's how they've presented it. So the two sections that required some form of problem solving ability was too minor and could have been put in a different part of the video for it to feel a bit more concisely. Do you know what? The temptation is super real for me to just cut this video and be like, I feel like this is how it should have been presented. I don't think it's aimless and empty, because they did show there's an aim here. It's literally this stupid thing here. This stupid part. Like, this is the thing. It's like we say it's aimless, but it's like, if we knew what this was for, I'd appreciate it more. think it's the reason why I feel like it's going to be open world rather than open worlds with zones. I think it's more like open zones with worlds, with levels. Think of FF13 when that came out. It will be interesting to see if this area is a hub or an open world. There will be places that are like restrictive, but the world is still pretty much. That's what I'm assuming has RPG. That's the way I'm kind of like making. That's where my like the combination of design brain and fanboy comes into it. Like the temptation of this being. Well, to give another example, they start off climbing a tower, but there seems to be no reason for it. Something there is not in the actual game. That's true. You're completely in there, right there. So here's my thing. Okay, we're gonna go straight to the top of this area. So this area looks like it's already been discovered. Like this isn't their first time seeing it. So it looks like whatever would have been here has been discovered. So I want to try and do this for a second. Where will it be? Oh yeah, we're going to a section of the map that we can't see. Because it's this area of the map that we can't. Oh, right, it was there. Could you just not see from the top? We couldn't see it from the top. There's a thing here. I'll give another example. They start off climbing a tower, but there seems to be no reason for it. Something I'm sure there is in the actual game. Yeah, it's true. Okay, I'm really tired, so we call it a night. Thank you very much, Grasso. Take care. Sweet dreams, dude. Thank you very much for coming this late. But yeah, you see this section here? There's a boss here. There's an enemy here. But you don't see it when you're up here. You're supposed to see it when you're up here. That's what I mean when I'm meaning by optimization. It's like this, you're supposed to see that when you're up here. So what it feels like, do you know what it feels like? Let me try and see if this confirms what I'm thinking right now. That is what we're supposed to see. That is this here. That's literally what we're fighting. So I feel like we jump down here to fight this thing before we start traversing into other things. They probably will, but that's my point, is that I want it to be, I'm hoping for it to be optimized as best as it possibly can be from the get-go, and I hope that they do put a focus on that. Because that's what this is supposed to be. It's like, oh, I see an enemy, I'm going to go attack it. I think All Machines might be kneecapping this game a bit from the tech point of view. To be fair, we are being hypercritical. Let's be fair. We are being very, very hypercritical. I'm not going to deny that. And I think I'm being more fair on it as well. Like, I get that you can't see certain things when you get to, like, the tech demoing, is the tech demo aspect is not the most well optimized. I get that. It's not really that scary of an issue for me. But we're literally ripping the sheet out of this with the very little we have to go on. That's the thing, is like, but we don't need to think that hard about this. Look, this is the pointy thing, that this thing is what we're attacking. We even get a little snippet of how we attack it. This is literally it. Like, that's this thing here. We run up this. And I think it's because that the textures may be a little bit maybe unfinished. That might be the reason why they don't want to show off. I feel bad, but I'm hypercritical on Sonic stuff because of how much I love the series. Would it be the best it can be? I mean, that's exactly the reason why I'm here, Sanshar. Like, I'm exactly the same. Let's be fair, I'm much more kinder than most people are when it comes to games like this. And Sanshar, because I exist, it sounds like a really arrogant way of saying this, but because I exist as a person who is more hyper optimistic on Sonic games, or even just games in general, you can be as hypercritical as you want to be. That's basically my point. I mean, Sonic fans like us are very hypercritical about Sonic games. So it looks more like we come down here, and in this, they finally do the attacking. They go into this section. He even turns into that section. Look, he even turns towards it. And it stops. Like the game cuts just as you're about to do something interesting. And that's the thing, you didn't realize. See, the other thing is like, what if a person didn't see the teaser? Quick question. If you didn't see the teaser, would you have thought, if you didn't know that, if you hadn't seen the teaser or put two and two together on this situation, would you have thought that this was actually an enemy? Oh no, that's completely fine. See, that's what I'm thinking. Is like, I feel like this is really good set dressing. I feel like this, that's what I'm thinking. Is like, I feel like this is just really, really good. Exactly, right? But that's the interesting part. That's the vertical slice. We didn't know it was an enemy until, actually, up until this point, we didn't know what any of the enemies looked like. We didn't know what any of the enemies looked like. But it's only because I'm being hypercritical and hyper-analyzing this to oblivion that, and I'm pretty sure if I figured it out, like more astute Sonic fans would have figured it out, that these two were cut from the same gameplay video. And by extension, that would have been the vertical slice. Like, I feel like if you had known that this is what happens when you approach an area like this, you have to go attack it. I feel like that would have improved a lot of the thing. I always like to play both sides when judging stuff. I'll be critical about it, but I still play it myself regardless to make sure I right or wrongdoings. See, the thing is that I'm still positive of Sonic Forces, so. And then they cut away the moment you're about to do something interesting. Like, the temptation is so goddamn real to cut in the teaser footage. And you're like me, I love all Sonic games, even the mobile ones. See this again. Enemy here. Look at this enemy. This is an enemy we saw in the teaser. You know how we know it's in the teaser? Look, it's right here. It's right here. Why the guy out? Why the guy out? I'm so confused. Why the guy out? I wanna like. This is so confusing. This should be in the, and I don't get why. I'm just trying to understand, okay, the logic of why they put this here and they went to attack it. Oh, wait, didn't they cut around this stone? They went all the way around. Oh, there's another one, that's why. It's because there's two. It's right there. Hang on, I got it back. We go one more. It's right there. Trying to figure out where this one turns up. This is another enemy that they've literally just avoided. Wait, hang on. Let me go back for a second. Let me just slow this down. He's coming in from the left. We're still chasing after him. It's actually pretty cool. It means that there's enemies that can keep up with him. That's what I mean by it's like all the stuff to do with the gameplay, all the very interesting, all the things that you want to know about. It's just out of you. It's just out of you. It's maddening. It's just maddening. Oh God, I'm sorry. It's like it's right there. Go attack him. Go attack him. Hang on, there's another one. You know how we were saying this was empty earlier? Another enemy right there. Look. That was 3 enemies in the span of like 1 minute. Would we have known if we didn't know that was the enemy? Is it me or Mrs. Badniks, by the way? It does. No, it's not just you. It's literally the problem I've been having with this entire teaser. It's like, the gameplay is actually right there. See, the grand irony is that the gameplay is actually in it's right there. It's right in front of us. It's there the whole time. But if it looks so empty, it's like, why is it so empty? Wait, hang on. Let me go back for a second. Was there another one? Just like right. I don't know what's going on. Like every time I double click. I was trying to see if there's another one here for some stupid reason. I think there's so much more going on in this game than we ever thought realized originally. Badniks are like Pokemon confirmed. I mean, they probably are. In before that, Sonic Frontiers is basically Sonic 3D Blast remake. This is welcome to Flicky's Island, everyone. You remember Flicky's Island? Look, we're actually there. It's all full circle. Silver is back. Flickies are back. Everything is back. So, if you're wondering why I'm like slowing down, it's because I'm trying to figure out if there's the flying enemies. It's the one type of enemy we haven't seen yet. So it looks like these are acting as extra lives. Oh, there we go. It's right there. There's another enemy right there. Has its what are the hearts for? Well, you see, they're all the hearts of the heartless. I mean, it's basically Sonic's helping Sora find the hearts, and they look exactly the same as the ones in that game. So you know. I'm actually just stopping to see if there's like enemies in random places. There are. Here. You can see them, they flick. There are. They thought I was the madman. I thought I was a madman. But it's right here the whole time. God damn it. they've played this like a damn funeral. God damn. What is going on in this game? Right. So, remember how we said initially that this looks aimless and there's not much to do? There's probably a lot to do. And they've not done it. The thing is, they're giving people what they ask for is gameplay footage. Sonic fans are always worried about physics, usually, or the movement. I mean, no, that's fine. The thing is, like, we say it's Sonic fans, but the main complaint for this particular teaser is that it felt like a playground, right? Maybe that's the intention here. Like, the intention was that this area... Go to bed fast. Hi, Marta. Happy fast day. Welcome to the stream. Look, I didn't ask to be the one with sense, alright, on the internet, but here I am. Here I bloody am. I didn't ask to be the person who says, hey, you had this complaint, alright, cool, this vertical slice says this thing. It's like, it's right there. I've just proven it. I've proven it on literally everything. It's right there. The gameplay footage has been cut in a wonky way that makes it seem like there's nothing going on when there's plenty of stuff going on. We're just not approaching it or interacting with it. How are you doing today, Marta? I hope you're doing well. Also, there's a box there for some reason. I think visually this is probably one like the best looking, like from a what's the word? Do you know when you just want to get like scenic shots? Those are springs, by the way. Can't go to bed yet. I'm on a roll. Whereabouts are we looking? Like, I know there's flying badniks. It's here. These are the flying badniks. When we get closer, they start to sparkle, like that. I'm trying to see if there's any others. Again, look. Sound shower. Like, you remember how you were saying before, where there was just like, it seems like nothing's going on. It's literally because they're avoiding all of it. It's literally because they're avoiding all of it. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I do like the quill animation. Also, his head wobbles like left and right. Also, it's weird because if I pause just enough, can you see? Like, I don't know if you just see it. Can you see what I mean? He's using it.
Now I'll show you.
Hi, Mark with the C. Thank you very much for the hosties. Muchly appreciated, dude. Hope you're doing well, man. I don't know why the alert didn't turn up. Like, why the hosting didn't come. Ah, there it is. Howby. Wagath1. Yo, thank you very much for the raid, Mark with the C. How was Valorant, man? We're just trying to figure out stuff. Look, his hand is glowing. You know who else's hands glow when, you know, because of reasons. and it's in the similar color. Silver the Hedgehog. This is Silver the Hedgehog confirmed. People think I'm a madman right now. You've come in at a time where people think I'm a goddamn madman. Have you actually seen the footage for this Mark of the Sea? It is! Sonic's hand glowed in SA1 when you picked up power-ups. That's true, but his hand stayed in place. It sounds like I'm being so stupid about this. I know, I'm sorry. I'm looking here because it's basically Silver's power. Like when you've been salivating over the footage all day, don't worry. Oh, you have? What did you think of the footage, man? I feel like, Mark, like I've been all over. Oh, that's true, it is chaos controlled, you got a point. Imagine that's what they retcon Silver's story to be. Like, if Sonic is about speed and Shadow is about space-time, what if, not space-time, time stop. What if Silver's chaos ability is not telekinesis, but chaos control, like in a different way? Is that what they've been trying to say this whole time, and it's just been really badly expressed? See, look, another one. Look, this is the first thing. This is the first time we actually see the powers used. What do we see them used for? Thing elements. Puzzle elements. Hang on. So, this is something we didn't notice the first time around. This vertical slice is really, really annoying because it's not clear. We did a puzzle thing. There's things you can't see. A second later, look, all this rock stuff appears, all these items appears. And a grind rail. A grind rail appears. In other words, these things don't appear straight away. These things don't just appear in the level either. You have to unlock those places. You have to unlock those areas for it. I'm not a crazy person. The game's right here. The game's right here. It's just, you barely notice it. I think that's probably the reason why. I wonder why, if he's lost in Space Frontier. Maybe. Like Bermuda Triangle. We don't know what that is, to be fair. I don't like that they... Oh, I think they've cut it just before any information is given out. But yeah, this looks like... it does look like a Chaos Egg. Maybe that's like the... If it is, oh my god, this game is going to sell like hotcakes just because there's going to be a Chow Garden. There has to be. Look at this for a second. Just bear with me for a second, yeah. It's a web, and it's floating? No, there's a little undersection there. We literally we go to it and then we just jump off. That thing, common sense. You're just gonna keep saying everything is confirmed, running confirmed. So these things don't... This is quite far into the game. This is when things are unlocked and you actually get to run around things. I think that's also why you go to the tower first initially, because it unlocks a lot of things immediately. I think that answers your question, Sound. Anytime we see like a red or blue icon, The player is literally trolling us. No, if you think about it, I mean that's literally what's happening. No, we went past this. Also, it looks like this section here is this section here, because that looks like it's just there. Yeah, these two, this is this here, and it looks like if you went to this, you end up having to battle this. This was in the teaser. This was in the teaser. Do you understand what's going on? do you see the third eye right now? This was in the teaser. It looks more like they've cut the sections out where they're more into. I feel, Sanja, I think to answer your point, I think this vertical slice has been doctored, and there was probably more happening in this vertical slice than we realize, but they cut out every single interesting part about it. Or at least not shown us enough of the interesting parts about it. Also, by the way, what is correct? Where that first bit ends, where this ends, here, this bit ends. It's kind of where this bit starts. That noise we're hearing is that. And literally this was at the start of the level. This is the only other thing after that. Because this was also in the teaser. It says up. Oh, sup. But why does it say up? And you know what it reminds me of? It's right there. I might be the crazy one here, but this game seems more and more about Silver. But I said Zap. I mean, you might be right. I'd forgotten what it was supposed to be. What was supposed to be written. I just keep seeing up. Look, I think it's my dyslexia really like rattling me. But it's like, you might be right. That's Z. A. That's an A, and that's a P. But I'm just being stupid. It does say Zap, you're right, but you get my point. But why does it say Zap? I'm just trying to think of a game that uses Zap, but I just think this is a Silver game now. This This is a game about silver. Like, I'm 100% crazy for this. That might be the new name for the power. And probably it says Mob in Arabic. Probably Mob Psycho 100, yeah. Maba Psycho 100. Jeez, I feel like a crazy person right now. I really do. Which is just me, which there's no P. It could be map. Oh, could it? I mean, it's supposed to say Zap. We know that it's supposed to say Zap. That's established. But it's really annoying because no, there's no M there. I don't see how the M comes into this. But we know it says Zap, but it's just really frustrating because I'll forget. I'll just forget, and I don't think it says Zap anymore. I'll just stop looking at it for 2 seconds. I mean, it has been literal months since I've seen it last. So, the only thing I need to do now is just basically go through the old theories video that I put together like back in December and see how much of it I was right. And I think I'm pretty much correct. I'm pretty much bang on the money. I'm the most intelligent. I'm the greatest ever. I'm the most ruthless and most vicious Sonic streamer ever. I'm the smart. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know what else to say right now except for thank you everyone for just sticking around and listening to me ramble, whether you watch this now or later down the line. Biggest thing I can say right now is I think people are selling this game super short. I think they're selling this footage super short. But the problem is that I had to be an absolute nerd to feel that way. I had to feel like I had to drag it out. So people in the future with Sonic community or Sega community, when you look upon the person who's made you understand that Sonic Frontiers had more footage than you might have realized, you will look at me and you say, that guy did it. I don't think there's enough to go on to truly judge yet. I mean, I can understand. I really do. But there's loads of stuff here that's clearly in place. And it's really frustrating. See, the problem here is stuff like this. Hang on. Let's see it. This is like really cool. And it's just like the weird like camera janking. Wait, what new camera? Oh, that's the new camera. So that's what we mean by like the optimization stuff. So yeah. Everything that was interesting. So to concise the point, TLDR, I didn't watch, you went straight to the end of the video. There's a game here. There's loads of stuff, but without any gameplay on it, it just feels like a tech demo of sorts. Completely fine. Sanshao is completely correct. It can feel it does feel like that. Not it can, it does feel like that. But my problem is that this was done deliberately, and because it's done deliberately, it means that they're definitely hiding something, and they're avoiding those sections. Every time that they've entered a section like that, they showed it off in the teaser, but didn't show it off in the gameplay. And I'm just confused as to why you would do something like that unless this was a feel out process. Maybe this was done on purpose because they wanted to know how people would react, and maybe if they should consider delaying the game, if that is something they want to do. I highly doubt they're gonna, but I mean, there's still a long time before now and whenever they decide to release it. But the idea is, I definitely can see the potential, but I don't. And like Sancho says, because we don't have any gameplay context for a lot of it, it's good. I'm gonna say as it is. I think what they showed was good in the sense of they showed off a lot of footage I don't think we would have got otherwise. There's clearly rain effects in the game. There's clearly weather effects in the game. There's clearly contextual enemies, which is really good. It's very new for Sonic. I just think that they need to show more direct input from Sonic to say what he's doing in this world. So that means attacking enemies or solving problems. I don't want to see the 2 that we saw. We need to see the footage that we definitely saw in the teaser. I feel like it's an early look gameplay, and the aim was to tease off the mechanics, and that they fixed a lot of the issues all the games had, but with plot lines or how to solve puzzles. The problem is that you can't forgo all of them. Like, I know the spoilers one is going to get given in a story, the plotline one that will be given in a story trailer. I don't mind that one. This is not that. The problem I had was that they showed off the enemy type in the teaser, but didn't show it in the gameplay stuff. And my guess would be that this gameplay footage has been around for a while. I actually think this might be quite old. This might be the same footage that was used for the original Sonic trailer, so I think this might be back in December. Contextually, like I said, from what I was figuring out, some of the enemy types do look like they're part of the scenery, and I think that's done on purpose because they're meant to look like they're part of the scenery. You weren't meant to figure it out type situation. But even Breath of the Wild didn't do that. So that's kind of where my whole things lie. So hopefully we'll get more information throughout June, and we'll get a story trailer, and finally they will confirm Silver being in the game, and this is actually a game about Silver because they've been wanting to get Silver back into the game for the longest time, and I feel like this is the only game they could do that with. I don't think they could do that with any other game coming up. I really don't. They need something big with Silver so that Silver can come back in a like I said, Shadow got got a game to himself. Let's put it this way. Silver, people want Silver. I'll get my silver tinfoil hat out. Yeah. People will look at me and call me a madman. But I was right. The thing is, like, a lot of it seems very ripe for Silver's whole mode. It just feels very Silver-like, and that's all I can really say about it. I know it sounds dumb, and I'm not hoping for it, to be honest, because I actually don't think I'm not sure if Mad or Evil Genius. Maybe. I've been right before, and clearly the folks who develop games clearly watch my streams because they say what I do. Most characters are dead to me. Chaotix are dead to me, to be honest. That's true, but it's like they brought back Mighty and Ray, except for Blaze. She's rad. To be honest, if it was Blaze and not Silver, I'd be so happy. I'm not gonna lie. If it's Blaze and not Silver, I'd be happy. The problem is that the game seems super focused on that motifing with Silver that I can't not think about it. I can't not turn around and say that there is something about this game feels very much focused towards that sort of like Sonic 06 enemy style type, where everything's very sheen, very futuristic, and the stuff that is old is very high tech. So it just feels like Sonic may have been shot off into the future. That's what it is. Sonic's been shot into a parallel. Froggy, where are you, Froggy? But yeah, I hope they show a vertical slice where you actually do interact with the scenery a bit more and not just the thing stuff. If they're going to show off puzzles, show off more puzzles. If you're going to show off more stuff, I think one of the things is that some of the way they've presented some of their stuff feels very janky. Like it's not clear what's actually been introduced into the scenery. I think it's because it's an early build, and hopefully they'll fix that. where they'll add a flourish to things that do newly come up, so that it's not as hard to read the screen. And we still don't know if there is gonna be multiplayer elements. I highly doubt it, but like timer trials and stuff like that. They need to get a vertical slice that was done internally. The video looked like a rando again messing around. We need something that's a little more scripted. See, the thing is that my problem is I don't think it's IGN's fault either. I think it's actually, it might be whoever was in charge of marketing it, for lack of a better phrase. It might have been Sega's decision or Sonic Team's decision to cut elements from this vertical slice. This 7-minute gameplay is not the full gameplay. We know this. The problem is that it wasn't scripted. I think this was the script. I think what they've shown was correct. They were trying to show off different elements of the plateau that we were in, but the downside was it wasn't enough to anytime they did something that was I would say finished is probably the best word to use. So anything to do with an engagement, that's probably the best word. Anything that was to do with an engagement was deliberately avoided. They cut around it. That's the problem with it. Like, if we saw it, I would have thought, if I had to think about it, this is the place I would cut this video. I'd probably say that the video started I feel like this video started here. This is where I would have started the video. Start here, because this is where I would have thought the trailer would have started. So I feel like that's what ended up happening. We got dropped into the world. Starts here. You run towards a section, and I think the most interesting section we would have gone to would have been this section here, which still feels like they started out here. Like, it feels like this bit cuts into this bit here, and then they showed off this first, because this is a very interesting location, and that's probably one of the biggest questions I was asked. Then from here, go into the fight, one of the fights. So you had this entire 2-minute section before we got dropped down here. This would have been a fight. So we're now in at least 5 minutes in. So we would have had we have our vertical slice. I think we have our footage. It's just been cut in such a way that we don't get to see it. And that's really annoying. Sorry, it sounds like I'm just trying to talk people out of it, but you get my point. It sounds and feels like that the gameplay footage is actually there. The script was actually put in place, but they've on purpose cut parts of the script out so that people don't see it. So it's like this section here. This is clearly something you can interact with. But we don't know why we can interact with it. I think this activates this. But then the other side of it is you don't need to, if this is an enemy in the real world, you just attack this. Literally, I really do feel like that we could probably rejig this entire gameplay video, and it would probably make more sense if the vertical slice included some of the footage from the teaser. But you are right, it does feel more like a rando at IGN messing around with it. It's really weird, because I don't think it's IGN's fault. I think it's whoever decided to let this footage out to say someone said they can't do this or this. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Got tagged in a thing and I don't know why. I'm sure everything else, but it feels unfinished as a result from them drip feeding the footage over the next few weeks. True. Completely agreed. Like, you are right. I hope they don't drip feed. I hope they don't do that. I hope we don't have to like start trying to gather the footage ourselves. Probably we will see some stuff on the 23rd, because why wouldn't they type situation. There's also the case of there might be a Sonic Central this year. We might see something to do with the Sonic Central this year. We did it last year because it was a 30th anniversary, but I don't know if they're going to do it for the 31st. So we'll see what we have to work with. Plus this month, I would have thought more focus would have been put on Origins, so it's a bit weird that they've done things this way. But c'est la vie on that one. We just have to hopefully get an answer soonish, and we don't have to wait too long for it either. But yeah, I think that's as much as I can talk about this second at almost 2.5 hours in. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours in. I spent almost an hour, probably the full 2 hours on this. Full 2 hours on this? Jeez. Oh god, I wasn't expecting to spend that much time on it. To be fair, it was not, I mean, the original trailer was about the same length too, and we don't know why. Like, I spent about the same amount of time, I guess. So, I think that's going to be it for today. I don't know what else I can really suggest. I think I've exhausted everything that I could look at. The music, we also know that it's not going to be the final music choice because it's an overlaid music. 20 minutes on Pokemon, 2 hours on Sonic. 10 minutes on just random talking. Yeah, sounds about right. And tomorrow we get to do it all again. You know why? Because we got a state of play. Amazing. So the music is lovely, by the way. It is. I think the music is very lovely. That's why I really do feel like that this is very heavily emphasized towards something to do with Silver. I don't know. I feel it in my fuzz, I guess. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my Sonic hat. I feel like it's, the problem is all the details that they've deliberately avoided, and I feel like this is a huge deal if it is, and it does turn out that it is something to do with Silver. Like, this entire time, the reason why they've been so low key about everything is because everything is tied towards Silver. My gut telling me is you're super wrong first, but you can certainly quote me on that if I am wrong. I ain't gonna quote you. It's okay. It's completely fine on that sound shot. I mean, you can clip this and keep it for later, I guess. But like for right now, somehow, and I could be wrong. I could be, but they tested it with Shadow on Forces. It feels weird if they don't do it, and it feels very Sonic in the 06-ish. This feels very much what I would expect Silver to feel like musically. So why not, you know? It's like Silver didn't go to the future. He just got sent to another side of the planet. as established by the Sonic podcast thing that they do. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I really do appreciate everybody sticking around for the stream. He's only been in one game, to be fair, so it wouldn't be unheard of to see him again in a mainline game again. It wouldn't be unheard of to never see him in a mainline game again. That's true. I mean, I can't exactly argue that point that much. My problem is, Chaotix returned, and they have appeared like in story type thing. Like Chaotix has returned, SBO has returned, Mighty and Ray have become playable. So, and Silver has been playable in more games than SBO has or Charmy has. or Ray for that matter. So I fully expect. I don't know if I would say that. Silver. Silver's been in. Yeah, they've all appeared in speaking roles at least. That's the thing. Vector has returned. Espio has been in. I feel like Silver has been more playable compared to other. Because the problem here is that I'm gonna have to include all the Olympic games because he's been in every Olympic game. Which is like he's been in every Olympic games. Espio has not. Vector has. Charmy has not. Mighty has not. Ray has not. And then we are talking about other titles that may have just appeared in. Like, he was in Sonic Rivals, whereas Mighty and Ray have not. Vector has been... Like, Team Chaotix has only been in 2 games by comparative. And the one with the biggest representation is Vector, because Vector's also appeared in Sonic Boom as well. So, Silver has appeared in more games than Vector, Ray, Ray, and Mighty, than probably most of the characters. So, for him to return here, it seems like even Silver has been in Sonic Forces, and Mighty and Ray hasn't. although now that I say that, this is probably the biggest reason why I wouldn't want Silver to come back, you know? Sonic Forces just reminded me that there's a line that Silver says, I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist. Sonic's not coming back. This is a rehabilitation if they do decide to bring... Oh, God. It's like, wow. Wait, hey, Silver, what are you doing here? Oh, yeah, things went terrible in the future, so we came back. God, Silver, you absolute plonker. But Silver needs rehabilitation. This is probably a good way of going about it, if anything. So, they make a story about Silver. See, I feel like I've nuked my own entire theory. See, I feel like I've nuked my entire thought process here. So Silver might not be in the game. But yeah, it feels like Silver's in the game. It feels right if Silver's in this game. I don't know how he's in the game. He could be speaking role again. But something about it feels like we're going to be interacting with a Silver type character, because it feels like we're going to get a new villain, not an old villain. And even if Robotnik is involved, he'll probably be like pushed aside in the grand scheme of things type situation, because I think that's what we need more of, returning villains. But we don't know. I'd say like 2 or 3 is probably all you need. But when you have Robotnik, Metal Sonic, and Eggman Nega has been in more games than Mighty and Ray, I think. Not Mighty and Ray, then maybe Vector, then some of the Chaotix, because it's like the entirety of Sonic Rush series. Robotnik and Metal Sonic is all you need, in my opinion. Hey, that's completely fine. It's just more like it's if you want to bring something new, like for example, Sonic Initiative did a really good job of it, where Robotnik was the main villain, but Gaia was the main bad, was the big bad. So it's like, oh, cool, that's nice. Same thing with Shadow being the main villain, but it was BioLizard that was the main bad type situation. And we're probably going to get the same thing here again. It's just nice to have another recurring villain. Like Infinite, to me, is a good design and a good idea for a recurring villain. We'll see if that ever returns. So, with that being said, I think I have said I'm trying to stop the stream for a while, and I've just rambled on for a little while, but yeah, welcome to Silver Frontiers. I hope you guys have enjoyed my thoughts so far. Sancho, literally the have you we've already established that literally this entire game is giant monster design. This random giant monster design. So I'm pretty sure this is gonna be another one. It'd be nice if there was like a face to the villain type situation. But yeah, we'll see. Sonic of the Colossus. I was hoping someone would say that. We said this at the start of when it first got introduced. But anyway, going back to point, I think I've rambled on enough. Thank you everyone for sticking around the stream. I really do appreciate it. We're gonna watch the state of play tomorrow, and we're gonna be playing Stranger of Paradise once that's complete. Once and try and get that completed. I'm actually free. I've actually got a holiday tomorrow, so I might stream earlier. I'm not sure. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. Mighty Young Faz, thank you. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream and the rambles. Yeah, I hope you guys join me tomorrow for the state of play and Stranger Paradise. Friday, no idea what's going on. I know next week is Netflix Geeked Week, and we'll see where the night takes us type situation. Let me just quickly see who is live. Okay, I don't get to raid this person all that often, so we're gonna go raid Ben, because why the hell not? So if you don't mind joining me in saying Happy Faz Day to Ben, or just Silver Frontier, whichever one works out for you. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend. And as always, and remember, have a very wonderful and happy Faz Day. Bye bye.